Aliens, they're like a little bit better than the first Alien. Like I love the first Alien movie, but I think Aliens just kind of tops it a little bit more. It's just a little bit more action packed. Just the characters a little just bit more fun. There's a little bit more drama, a little bit more stakes than the first Alien movie. Like the first Alien movie was like groundbreaking. When it came to like the used universe aspect to it, when it came to practical effects, when it came to horror, sci-fi horror, it was groundbreaking in that aspect. But with Aliens, it's just a little bit more fun. Like I feel like I can like watch that a little bit more than Alien. I know it's very controversial, like which one's better, Alien or Aliens? But I think for me personally, I think I just like Aliens just a little bit more than the first Alien. It really like jumps up in production value. This was James Cameron's first like big studio film. With the first Terminator was very like like a very, in a way, kind of very independent movie, but like this was like Fox Studios, and obviously they had a big hit with the first Alien movie. So with this movie, the expectations were super high. I know like there was like the whole backstory of like the fact that they didn't actually even want to do an Alien sequel in the first place. As time went on, they kind of warmed up to the idea of the studio, and then they hired James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd onto the project. But the fact that that the studio didn't want Sigourney Weaver because they were just like, oh, she's too expensive, like we don't want her. James and Gail quit the project, and then eventually they were able to kind of negotiate with Sigourney Weaver to kind of get her onto the project, and then James and Gail were finally able to come back onto the project. So yeah, I'm sure it was like a very like tumultuous development period just to get Aliens onto the screen. But yeah, I'm glad that everything worked out. But I know that like production was very, very stressful. Like the British crew that James was working with, wasn't cooperative with him, and like they wouldn't really take his direction. They would call him governor, and then he would say like, I really much prefer if you don't call me governor. And they're like, okay, governor. So yeah, that was crazy. And the post-production was insane too, just with all the visual effects and like the practical effects and all that. And then I know he had spats a lot with James Horner, the composer. So the fact that this movie got made at all and it was as good as it was, it's just a testament to how much of a visionary James is, to kind of see how successful this could be, and how he goes all in with this project. But yeah, just the fact that it's called Aliens, so obviously there's more than one alien. So instead of the crew kind of going against like one alien in the first movie, they're going against a bunch of aliens. What's really impressive is just like all the alien xenomorph costumes, and then obviously the alien queen at the very end that they battle, this kind of like very animatronic monster that's like puppeteered by a couple guys. Is like very, very impressive. And then just the whole battle at the end between Ripley and the Xenomorph Queen is very, very impressive. It's like a mother versus a mother, which is another really cool aspect about the movie, is that the main theme of it is about motherhood, and how Ripley becomes a mother. Technically she was a mother in the first Alien movie, but since she was in cryo sleep for 57 years, her daughter passed away, and then she's obviously very emotional about that. So then when little Newt comes into the picture, and she becomes like this kind of surrogate mother to her, that kind of whole relationship strengthens. And then when you get to the climax, is really these two mothers in a way protecting their young, where Ripley is trying to protect Newt from the alien queen, who's trying to protect her alien egg babies. And then Ripley comes in with her flamethrower and is like blasting all of them. And then eventually in the final battle, where Ripley's in the power loader suit going against the alien queen, that whole epic showdown was really cool. So I'm glad that they gave Ellen Ripley a little bit more kind of character depth to her. And then obviously she's this huge action star in this one. She kind of created the iconic female action hero that James Cameron is so fond of, and that he'll continue on into Terminator 2 with Sarah Connor. But how like Ripley's like this icon now for the female action star, because there really wasn't, at least to my knowledge, there wasn't really like a ton of like female action stars. There was really just like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger were kind of like the big action guys. So the fact that they gave it to James gave it to a woman to be the main character, the female action star, was a really cool choice. And the fact that Sigourney Weaver got an Oscar nomination for this movie, it was just kind of mind-blowing. You don't see that every day. You don't really see, at least back then, you don't really see like science fiction really getting the credit that it deserves. It's always about like the comedies and the dramas that kind of get the attention. But the fact that Aliens was honored in that way, especially with the Best Actress nomination, was very culturally significant. And I thought, yeah, that was like a really, really groundbreaking at the time. Yeah, another thing too is just like the action sequences, like the tagline for this one is like, "This time it's war," where you have all the Marine characters, and they're kind of like having the shoot 'em ups with the aliens, and then like the ground transport that like Ellen's kind of driving throughout the colony is like really cool. Just like the claustrophobic scenes of like characters trapped in like vents, kind of like going through, and like aliens like popping up and like pulling them down into them. And I feel like it's just like a little bit more of like an entertaining alien movie. And yeah, it's too bad that this is really like the last good one, because I mean, just in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of other people's opinion, like Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection just weren't up to the standard that Alien and Aliens set at the beginning of this franchise. So yeah, it's a little too bad, but I'm glad that at least for this one, they kind of go off on a high note, where, as I kind of echoed with the first Alien movie, where you think, like at the very end, where Ripley, Newt, Bishop, and Hicks kind of get off into that transport. They get off on the ship, and they fly away from the colony before it explodes. And you think, okay, everything's all good. And then suddenly the Alien Queen kind of comes out, and then that's when Ellen and the Alien Queen have that power loader lift battle, and that the iconic line, like, "Get away from her, you." So yeah, I thought that was like really, really cool. Just kind of have that twist at the end, where you think it's over, but it's like it's not, kind of like with the first Alien. So I really appreciated that as well. Yeah, I think it's just as scary as the first one in a way. It's not, I don't think it's as suspenseful as the first Alien, but I think it's definitely like just as scary. The scene where like the aliens cut the power, and it's like, oh, they cut the power. How can they cut the power, man? They're animals. It's like it very much has like that kind of haunted house feel to it, which is really cool. So you get like the action and the horror as well. So I really appreciate that too. And then there's just like a bunch of like scares in the movie as well. Like face huggers, like the chest bursters, where they see like that person in the colony like stuck to the wall. They like lift her head, and then suddenly the chest burster comes out. That's pretty scary. When Ripley's stuck in that kind of like contamination chamber, and then like the face hugger's like about to attack her, and she's trying to get away from that. And then obviously with the xenomorph queen, coming down from the shaft and slowly approaching Ellen and Newt is like very, very cool too. And like the part where Bishop is like ripped in half. So yeah, there's still like a lot of like really good scares in the movie as well, even though it's a bit more leaning towards the action side. But yeah, I think it's like just as scary as the first one, but just a little bit more, action-packed. Yeah, and the last thing I want to say is just like, the supporting characters. I think Hudson's my favorite, played by Bill Paxton. Game over, man, game over. I mean, that's just like iconic right there. But then, his whole relationship with Vasquez, and then the other supporting characters as well. I mentioned like Hicks and Bishop and other Marine characters. But yeah, there's just some like really cool, iconic, fun characters. They have like their epic sacrifices or their epic deaths. Like Bill Paxton's like the only actor who's been killed by a Terminator, an alien, and a Predator. So this is like the movie where the second James Cameron movie where he gets killed off. So I thought that was like really, really funny. But yeah, the supporting characters are great. It's a really good like ensemble movie. Obviously like Ellen Ripley, Sigourney Weaver is the lead, and she kind of holds everything together. But the supporting cast members are like just as good and very, very entertaining as well, and obviously like very, very iconic lines.